Hello, everyone, and welcome to the AI Clinic. I am Dr. Kim, also known as the AI Doctor, and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we get together to talk about news and what's going on in artificial intelligence. There's usually a mini training on one of the latest and hottest functionalities in artificial intelligence software, and then finally, we get to the real meat of what we do, and that is to take a look at a business issue or a business problem, diagnose it, and I give you a cure. I want to thank everyone who is here on the Zoom side. I can see Ava, Janine, Lisa, Michael, Michelle, Wanda, and Yvonne. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys are on time too. Thank you. Over on the Facebook side, now you guys know that Facebook does some really weird things sometimes, so I cannot always see everyone that's on Facebook, but I do see Katina Terry over on the Facebook side. Hey, lady, good to see you as well. So let's jump in. Let's just jump right in and let's talk about the news. What has happened in artificial intelligence in the last week, since we've been together? Um, Let's see, there was a big announcement this week. I don't know if you guys saw it, and it kind of signals where artificial intelligence is really going to go in 2026. So what happened? Block, which is a Jack Dorsey company, Anthropic, and OpenAI have all teamed up. Can you believe this? It's very strange, bedfellows. They've all teamed up and they've launched the Agentic AI Foundation. So it's not just them. They've also brought in the Linux Foundation, they've brought in Microsoft, they've brought in Google, and also Amazon. So this is like what, the Avengers of tech infrastructure. And what they're doing is they're deciding the rules of the road for the next phase of artificial intelligence. So why do you really need to care about this? Well, we're moving from chatbots, which is AI that talks, to agents, which is AI that does something. And until now, if you wanted AI to book a flight or update your CRM and email a client, it was kind of messy. Tools weren't talking to each other. The things were going a little bit awry. Even in the early days of Chat GPT, when we had the plugins, they didn't always completely work. And it was like, trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, so to speak. So this foundation is creating a universal plug. They're building the standards. That's not a word that we hear in artificial intelligence in the United States very often, but they're building standards that will let your AI employees talk to Expedia's AI agent or Salesforce's AI agent. And they're doing this and they're building a lot of safety and security around that. So if you thought automation was powerful now, just keep watching through 2026. Automation is going to be absolutely crazy, but we're going to have standards. This is really where AI turns from, just a fun brainstorming partner, all sorts of stuff, and it really, really does become a reliable employee that can execute complex workflows while you are asleep. And that's one of the biggest draws of artificial intelligence. So the industrial phase is beginning, the guardrails phase is beginning, the standardization phase is beginning, and that's kind of one of the things that we've really been waiting for, especially in the United States for a while. So that's OpenAI, Anthropic, Block, Microsoft, et cetera, et cetera. Now, let's take a look at the flip side of this because there was another announcement that came out. And again, it involves OpenAI and Anthropic. But this time, they have partnered with the federal government. Yeah, kind of scary. So basically, they've created this direct pipeline between AI labs and the federal government. And this is where regulation is going to start coming in. And I know government regulation sounds a little boring, but it's kind of good news because let's face it, AI has been the wild, wild west here in the United States in a big, big way. So no more wild, wild west releases. And it's kind of like, remember when Microsoft would release something and it would break and everything would go crazy? Well, this is the kind of partnership that's hopefully going to create some quality assurance and kind of save us from those types of things starting to happen. So this agentic partnership is hopefully going to help us work faster, more securely, and we're going to have additional standards and regulations. Let's put some guardrails around what is happening. So I've got two more news items, but before I go to those, I'm curious, what do you think about the safety and the regulation that's going to be coming? And if you're over on the Zoom side, please feel free to unmute yourself. If you're over on the Facebook side, put your comments in the chat. We are entering this whole new era of regulation and attention to safety, and I think that's what 2026 is going to be about a great deal. So what do you guys think about it? Michael, yeah.
Yeah, as I mentioned in a couple of articles, being an attorney, it's like the Wild Wild West out here with AI and how people are using it. So we need some type of regulations
Hmm.
and standards. But with respect to partnering with the government, particularly this particular administration, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, can they really be trusted? But but what I'm finding is that they seem to be pretty serious about trying to have some regulation because they know if this gets out of control, they're not going to be able to get that horse back in the barn.
Exactly. And the horse is about 10 hectares down the road already.
Yeah.
So, we've got a lot of work to get the horse back in the barn. One of the things that we talk about in our Facebook group and in our mastermind is that, when it comes to regulation, the United States is so far behind some other countries. And I always look to countries like the Netherlands. I look to countries like the UAE also. Well, yeah, United UAE, United Emirates. Um, and we've seen for years they've had regulations on the books. Also, look at the city of New York. The city of New York has had artificial intelligence governance on the books since I think about 2000 or so, somewhere along those lines. So it's been there for in bits and pieces. But Michael, like you, I'm cautiously optimistic.
I just have one comment, and the draft what was released a couple of weeks ago, was drafted up so that the federal government can kind of stop states from putting regulations in place. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's completely, you may want to expound on that a little bit. You know more about than I do. But and that concerns me. But it could be good, it could be bad. It depends. But you do need some type of standard.
We absolutely do. And I think, it's six of one, half dozen of another. We need a universal standard. We absolutely do. And prohibiting states from passing their own laws, then what does that do? It's like, the sales tax. If you're going if you're going to sell in certain states, different states, then you have to pay sales tax in all of those different states. Well, how easy is it going to be, or how difficult will it be to keep up with all of the state regulations while also still trying to um, be, recognize the federal? Kind of reminds me also of cannabis sales. States where cannabis is legal, and the federal mandate is that it is not. So how do we work with that? But that's a great point. Thank you for that. I am seeing, okay, I see some comments over here. Angelique over on the Facebook side. Can't trust this administration to do the right thing. We need smart, intelligent, and beneficial minds to steer this train forward. I like that last part. We need smart, intelligent, and beneficial minds to steer this train forward. And that is absolutely true. So true. So let's go on to our last news story, and then a warning for some of you who are listening. Um, so we've been talking about basically about the plumbing of AI with the foundation news. So this is something that's kind of fun. If you use ChatGPT and you also use Intercart, they are now officially integrated. So it's not just a recipe generator anymore. You can now tell ChatGPT, I want to make lasagna tonight, and it's going to not only give you the recipe, but it can also build your cart, check the local inventory, and also let you pay without leaving the chat. So we've been seeing that ChatGPT is integrating with different applications, different lifestyle applications, and things like that. So that's kind of one of the fun things. So now, if you use Instacart and you use ChatGPT, You can make it very, very easy to, cook up a really quick gourmet meal, get the ingredients for it, and have everything delivered, and you don't have to leave your living room. That's not bad, but it's also a lesson. So if you sell products, and it doesn't matter what kind of products, candles, coaching, cookies, you need to start asking, is my business readable by an AI? That's the lesson in this one. Yeah, is your AEO, which is answer engine optimization, which is not the same as SEO, which is search engine optimization. Is your AEO ready? And is it ready to recommend you inside of an AI when someone asks for whatever your product or service is? If it is not, come on into our Facebook group. We actually did an entire session on AEO and what you need in order for your business to be ready to be recommended inside of an AI model. And joining us, it's free. We're on Facebook. It's the business of artificial intelligence because this really isn't about artificial intelligence. It's more about business and the practical application of artificial intelligence to that business. So I'm going to do the last one. And to the incomparable Yvonne Bryan Johnson, I am hoping you saw this. Anyone who is within the sound of my voice, this is a code red. If you are a government contractor, if you are in the 8A program, and this was released by the SBA, if you are in the 8A program, I need you to stop what you're doing and listen very, very carefully. On Friday, the SBA dropped a bomb and they are doing an audit of all 8A contractors. And I said way back when DEI was on the chopping block and they were cutting, the administration was cutting all of the DEI programs, I said that AA was going to be the next victim. And so here we are. So here's the situation. Administrator Kelly Loeffler has just ordered all 8A participants to submit their financial records for the last 3 fiscal years. And we're talking about bank statements. We're talking about general ledgers. We're talking about payroll ledgers. We're talking about every subcontractor agreement that you have ever signed. They want information on your actual employees. They want to see if you actually do have employees. Now, most people who are in 8A programs, they have this material, they have this information already ready. However, this is the killer. The deadline to get this information to them is January 5th of 2026. So that's less than 30 days away from here.
So let me
So
just say
basically,
this, Dr. West, this is nothing new. I've submitted all that every time.
ex
It was like I had an audit every year. So the one
yeah.
thing I like from them is why did I never get any business? So I never received, I didn't receive one contract, but each year I
Wow.
did do that information over and over. They have all my information, my accountant and I did it together. So for a lot of people, we've already done all that. It may seem like a scare tactic. And it may be for some who maybe they didn't turn theirs in, but those are the same things we've had to turn in before.
For exactly. Well, here's the underpinnings, or at least the rumblings that I'm hearing on the street under this, is that there's a feeling that the 8A program has long been a set-aside program for minorities and disadvantaged businesses. So with them attacking DEI and set aside programs and things like that, this is kind of almost, some people are saying, well, this was like the next logical place for them to go was the 8A program.
But
And I know you've been in 8A for a while, so what's your opinion on that?
I was going to say we already had to submit a letter last year because the 8A program was sued by somebody in Tennessee. It's always
Mhm.
Tennessee. And we had to submit letters explaining why we were disadvantaged. And
Mhm.
number of people made money helping us to write those letters. And then, I got a certification back, the man was approved, but, it was very stressful and harmful writing that, coming up with
Mhm.
what happened to me in 1990, whatever, in the past. And so I had already decided I don't even want to be a part of the program. And I'm looking at how I just stepped myself out because I've done all that and it didn't lead to not 1 cent. not 1 cent from the government.
And I comment on that.
Yes.
I used to be director of office development state of New Jersey years ago. And in my private practice, I represented a bunch of 8A companies, so I'm very familiar
Hmm.
with the program. And if they do a true audit, what they're going to find is a lot of these women-owned businesses, and we're not talking about minority women-owned businesses, aren't really owned
Hmm.
by them. But I don't think that's what they're going to do, because I actually keep a lot of statistics and data on that. And I think that it's an opportunity now that they say they're going to do an audit to for these people who are fronting to be exposed.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's six again, six of one, half dozen of the other. Is it a witch hunt, or are they truly trying to root out the corruption?
It's both. I don't think they're trying to get rid of corruption. I just think this it's just who they are. It's just what they do. And like I said, they really probably want to go after all those black women who made a lot of money. I was not one of them. But, I know that that's what they
Mhm.
want to stop too.
Yeah. And the interesting part is that the greatest benefactors of the 8A program are not Black women. I have had the opportunity to work with several 8A companies, and it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Keep your eyes open. I have a Google alert on anything 8A. So anytime something pops up, I get the news. But it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out and who truly gets caught up in this web, because I don't think they're going to find what they're looking for, much to the point that Michael was making. I don't think they're going to find what they expected. But I love the dialogue. Thank you both. I appreciate it. Does anyone else have any experience or any comments? Actually, Katina, if you're still on over on the Facebook side, I know you've worked with an 8A company as well. If you, because I know there's a delay on the Facebook side. If you have any opinion about that, please either put it in the chat or pop on Zoom so that we can talk about it. But while that is happening, let's talk about I'm sorry, that's all of the news for today. That's all the news for today. That's enough news. We've got 8A, we've got Anthropic and OpenAI getting in bed with Microsoft and all sorts of people, and then the federal government, and then this 8A thing, and then Instacart. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg for what has happened in artificial intelligence this week. So let's take a look at some practical uses of artificial intelligence. And I want to bring you to, I made a post earlier this week, and that post was announcing that Nano Banana, which is the graphics generator inside of Google, basically great graphics generator. In fact, it's really surprising a lot of people. Nano Banana is now integrated and available inside Manus. And Manus is one of our favorite tools to use because it is so wonderfully versatile. There's so many things that you can do with Manus right now. It's almost becoming like the Ginsu, or the Swiss Army knife, I should say, Swiss Army knife of artificial intelligence. So they have integrated. So if you want to create a presentation, you can create presentation slides inside of Manus. But now they've taken it to the next level, and they've integrated Nano Banana so that you've got really, really cool, crisp, really visually, aesthetically pleasing graphics inside of your slides. So I am going to share my screen. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to do a short demo of what it looks like when you are creating graphics inside of Manus using Nano Banana. So we are going to share. We are on screen number 1. All right. And this is let me hide the floating meeting controls. So this is my Manus account. We're on Manus 1.5. And let me just start with just a plain new task so you can see how to get to Manus. And if you've never even used Manus, I will give, in fact, in a moment, I'll put in the chat, I'll put my link in Manus, which will give you 500 free credits so that you can kick the tires and kind of play with it a little bit. It works the same way as ChatGPT, and it literally has hundreds of different functionalities. So here we are in Manus 1.5, and it's asking, well, what can I do for you? And we have some choices down here. We can create slides, we can build a website, we can do wide research, and a whole lot more. I am going to click on here, create slides. And if it wasn't on already, I would click on Nano Banana Pro. Now notice that slides is highlighted in blue, Nano Banana Pro is highlighted in yellow. And if you scroll down, we have some sample prompts already if you need to get started. Create a sales presentation for a B2B software solution. Prepare a training module on cybersecurity best practices. Design a pitch deck. Create a presentation. You can use one of these sample prompts or you can give it your own. You can decide how many pages that you want to generate. Is it 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 24? And then you can choose a template or you can import a template. So they already have these pre-canned templates, and I have it on good authority that there will be more coming. So we're just going to, let's see, let's choose brass. I like brass. So we're going to choose this template, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a very faint blue line around it to let us know that we've chosen that template. And then I'm just going to tell it, create a presentation on the rebirth of Cool, the genius of Miles Davis. Now you can give it more information if you'd like. You can give it bullet points. You can give it an entire script. You can give it what, even, sometimes the jumbled up ideas that are in your head, you can just type them out here and Manus is going to organize them as well as create the presentation for you. So I'm just going to leave it, create a presentation on the rebirth of Cool, the genius of Miles Davis. I'm going to give it 8 to 12 slides because I don't really want it to be too long. But again, if you need it to be, you have that option. So we've given it slides, Nano Banana Pro, and we're just going to click on send and it's going to do its thing. Now, while it's thinking and while it's going through, I am going to grab, oops, not what I needed to grab. I'm going to grab my link for those of you who do not have Manus already. I'm going to grab a link and all right. Katina just joined us, and Katina, I'll come to you in just a minute. I'm going to put this in the chat in here we go over in Zoom, and I will also put it in the chat in Facebook. Let me move that over. Here is the Manus link. And again, you'll get 500 free credits, which is more than enough to kind of get started and see what Manus is really about. When you do go into Manus, one of the things that you may want to do is, let's see, I have a whole lot of stuff going on in there. Task details, view all files in the task. You can also add it to your favorites. But you want to go in and take a look at all of the things that Manus can do for you. And it's a lot. Again, it's like the Swiss Army knife. And let's see, Katina, since you have logged on over here, oh, okay, Katina, I got you, Katina, no problem. I understand. Yeah, 8A was a long time ago. That was, that was like what, 1995, 96. I remember it fondly. Well,
Hey,
Manus
Dr.
is,
Kim, I'm
uh-huh.
sorry. Do you find that, or have you found that this doing the slides with Nana Banana Pro take up a lot of credits for Manus?
Yeah, it actually does. In fact, once this is, well, we can actually start a new task. So I had 23. Yeah, you can actually watch the credits as they're coming out of your account.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, so this one's used about has used about 48 credits so far.
Okay,
because I had my 300 refresh and I have 252 left.
okay,
But it's not intensive like if you're writing a book. You know, some of
right,
the prompts that we have where we've written books would take up maybe 1,000 credits. It's not that
yeah,
intensive.
okay,
And let's see, almost done. And you can watch the progress, which is what I like. I confirmed the presentation theme and style, focusing on Miles Davis. Found that Miles Davis's Rebirth of the Cool marked the jazz revolution, yada yada. So it does the research for you. So it's like Perplexity and Chat GPT all rolled up into one. It's preparing all of the slides. And while this is still thinking, I will pause because I know I talk a lot. I'll pause for for comments or questions if anybody has any.
I have a question, this
Uh-huh.
Janine. Um, if you already have, like the task and say you wanted to use the result of one of the tasks and have them create a slideshow, do you know how you do that, or would you just start over anew?
Oh,
Right.
while you're already in the task?
Yeah, like say I've done a task on, how to like any of the ones you have, and say you
Okay,
want to go
like
to a
oh,
slideshow.
like this one. Okay, best places to do whatever near Anchorage, Alaska,
Mhm.
because I was supposed to go to Anchorage, Alaska. Unfortunately, you have to take the results from that task and then start a brand new one.
Okay.
They haven't delivered a mechanism yet where I can just say, okay, well, you know what, let's try it. I'll put in a prompt
Mhm.
because you know how we like to do things on the fly here. Let's say use Nano Banana to create slides about this experience. And let's see if it actually does that. Now, if you're on the paid version of Manus, you can actually run 3 tasks simultaneously
Right.
within the same session. So
Yeah,
it's
that would be
thinking.
so helpful if you could like if they had that as an option to just pull that and then you can choose the task that you want to create the slides out of.
We might have to suggest that to the dev team.
Yeah,
You know, we're not above writing a well worded letter or
right.
email. Okay, so it's thinking, let's see what we're doing on the rebirth of cool. Oh, we're generating. So we've got the skeleton for the slides. We've got some of the slides.
Oh,
The rebirth of cool, the genius of Miles Davis, and I'll enlarge this in just a moment when it's done generating. Embody the sound and soul of jazz for 6 decades. Some historic information. Birth of Cool launched the jazz revolution in 1949, 1950. And I think the background, and I chose this background deliberately, kind of really goes with the whole jazz feel. I mean, it's kind of Art Deco, but it's still kind of jazzy. Birth of Cool became a foundational work and musical landmark. So it's going to finish, and when it's done, yeah, and it took the full 12 slides.
mm,
Let's see how Best Places Near Anchorage is doing. And it's generating the slides there. Let's see. So you know what, Janine, to answer your question, it's doing it. So there's
mm,
not a direct button to do it, but if you ask it to, that's
great.
exactly what it's generating right now, the slides for the Alaskan adventure with Nano Banana.
Ah, okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because that's my only concern with, using like the slides and that thing, that it would take up so much, right?
Hmm.
So many credits. Like,
Well,
oh,
let's see where we are now. We're at 23. Okay, so I've used all 300 of my daily refresh credits between the two of
oh,
them.
okay.
And I'm on a page, so you can see it revolving. So
Yeah,
833, 23, 751, 23. Yeah.
okay. So it does
So
take a significant amount.
yeah. So now we're at 7:45, but we are creating 2 slide presentations at the same time.
Right. Okay.
All right, so this one is done. And
Dr.
here we
West,
are.
Dr. West, I don't see your screen anymore.
Okay, does everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check at the
Okay, I
top
may
because
have
I
to
did that
refresh.
before. Yeah, or check at the top. You know, you have those two tabs. One that says meeting and one says Dr. or Kim West screen.
Hmm.
That messed me up before.
Thank you, Dr. Virgie. Chris, can you see it?
Not yet, but I'll figure it out in a sec. It's probably just one of my view options.
Yeah, if you look at the tabs in this almost, I think Janine, is it the center of your Zoom window or is it on the right?
Uh,
It's different for me because I'm presenting.
right. What are you looking for? You wondering?
He
Oh, I
doesn't
see it.
Mine
I
see.
is
see
at the
it. You're
top.
right. You're right. There is a tab at the top. I see it now.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, I only knew that because I got messed up that way too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we've got the rebirth of cool. I'm not going to go through the first 5 slides because we already did that. But now the only thing that it gives some really good information. It does the research for you. The only thing that I do not like about creating a presentation in Manus using Nano Banana is that you can't make edits to the slides.
Yeah. Same
What you
thing as
see is what
notebook.
you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to really like it, or you have to be uber specific about what information you give it. I just gave it one sentence. But if you have, if you already have your outline and you have some of your bullet points that you've created either in Claude or even Manus or even Chat GPT, and you put those in, then it'll put it in the right place. But yeah, you can't actually edit the slides itself, the slides themselves. Excuse me.
I was able to edit some slides using the paid version of Adobe Acrobat Reader. It does pixelate the background a little bit, but
Okay.
it will allow you to edit some of the text.
Now there's a
Good
tip.
enough.
Thank you for that, Chris. So Adobe Acrobat will allow you to make edits. I will tell you sometimes for some people, the learning curve for Adobe Acrobat. I know we're not even talking about Photoshop.
Oh, yeah. And do you have any of your connectors in your Manus, Dr. Kim?
Right now, on this account, no, I don't.
Okay.
This is my demo account. So no, I don't for the demo account, but my personal account that I use for my business, I
Uh-huh.
do have some of the connectors. And we
Like
can do
what
a
kind of
whole nother
connectors do you have with like your
I was
cat?
going to say I can do a whole nother presentation on connectors because
Yeah.
we've
I'm
got
just
to
trying to figure out what should I connect, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
definitely my Google Drive is connected
Oh
because
yeah,
that's
that
where I
makes sense.
store a lot of my information. My GitHub account is connected. Um,
Hmm.
I have an N8N automation that I built that connects HeyGen to Manus. So I have
Okay.
some very interesting connections. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But if you want me to do a session on Manus connectors, I can put that on the calendar for 2020 for early 2026 since we're only
Yeah,
three and a
'cause I
half weeks
use it
away.
a lot. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
ever since you showed it to us earlier this year.
Yeah, it was my
Dr. West, have you used Notebook LLM?
Oh, I use Notebook LLM extensively. One of my favorite tools. In fact, if you're a member of our Facebook group, we've been doing a 2026 planning boot camp this week. And the content that I created for yesterday and today was all created in Notebook LM, and the rest of the boot camp will also be created in Notebook LM.
And
Mm.
how do you feel that Manus compares to that, or are they just two different programs?
Two very different, it's like apples and oranges.
Mm.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put them in the same category. They have similarities. But what I use Manus for is when I have like large scale agents that I really need to deploy and go out, do the research, bring me back the research, write the book, write the ebook, write the whatever it is,
Mm.
and
Okay.
so that I can edit it and then send it over to HeyGen so I can have my avatar um, create content from it. with Notebook LM, I'm building, kind of with Notebook LM, I create much better graphic content, create much better video content, as well as, what is it? Not that mind maps. That's what I'm like, because
Yeah.
the mastermind is mind meld. Mind maps and the infographics and all the other stuff that I create, the graphics are much better there than they are over here in Manus.
Okay.
And then here's our presentation for the 2-day Alaskan winter adventure. And this started as just a regular Manus research project. And then we gave it a prompt and we turned it into a presentation using Nano Banana. Did pretty well. Yeah. That's pretty much what I wanted to do. King Crab lunch, scenic drive, Nordic spa, Aurora Borealis, some skiing, fine dining, more Aurora, and then basically leave them on the next day. Cool graphics. All right, I'm going to stop the share for just a moment. I'm going to check for comments and questions over on the Facebook side. Oh, Gregory, you are absolutely welcome for that. Doctor, is there a list of resources for the presentation? Not really, because we just basically used Manus, and I put the Manus link in the presentation. And then, oh, Michael wants to know, when you use Manus, who owns the content created? So those of you who have been part of my community for any amount of time know that I always tell you, read the fine print. Before you sign up for it, read the fine print. And if you don't want to read the entire fine print, copy the fine print, drop it into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and tell it to explain this to you like you are 5 years old, and point out anything that could potentially be harmful to you. Hey, Karen, good to see you tonight. So yeah, that's what we do. And I've posted several of these in our Facebook group. With Manus, you own your content. This is not like CapCut. And a lot of us stopped using CapCut for this very reason. CapCut changed their terms of service and decided that whatever you create, whatever you upload, whatever you put into CapCut now belongs to them, and they can do whatever they want to with it. Manus is the complete opposite. So when you create it in Manus, you own it. Can you copyright it? Unfortunately, no. If for you to copyright it, according to the US Copyright Office, and this is the quote, it must have significant human input for it to be copyrighted. Now, nobody gives us any numbers. Nobody says what significant human input equals. Does it equal 10%? Does it equal 20%? 50, 90? But I expect that to be changing very soon, at least in 2026, probably with this whole interaction with Anthropic and OpenAI, with the government, and starting to put guardrails around artificial intelligence. And I will now say that I am not an attorney. I do not play an attorney in AI or on TV. So please, if you want to know the true answer to that, I strongly suggest that you consult an IP attorney, so that you can get a concrete answer.
Well, I at this point, I don't think they know. This is
Yeah, no, they
evolved,
don't.
but
They
yeah.
don't. But I have to say that because I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving legal advice. Okay. So, any questions, comments? I got the questions. Latina wants to know, what is the equivalent to CapCut? It depends on what platform you are on. Let's face it, iOS systems, if you have an Apple or an i anything, Apple has always been the front runner when it came to video editing. So anything that they have produced, I think, run with it, go with it. If you are not on a MacBook or an iPad or an i whatever or an iOS device, Descript is one of the items that I really like, and Descript has come such a long way. Give me a second, I will grab the link and I'll put it in the chat for you. It's basically descript.com. It is one of my favorite video editors, and I put that in the chat over on Zoom. Let me put that in the chat over here in Facebook. There you go. Descript first started out as a video editor where you can edit your videos by deleting and adding words, which is a big departure from, deleting and adding frames. Sometimes, most people had a difficult time using the frames. Well, now you can do this with words. They have now evolved into a full-fledged video editor. You can also chop up your longer videos and create shorts. You can create new videos, you can edit old videos, you can create avatars. You can do lower thirds, you can do all sorts of graphics. Descript has come a long way. Okay, thank you, Chris. He just dropped in Filmora.wondershare.com into the Zoom room, and I will take this and I will also drop this over into Facebook. There we go. So that's my go-to at this point. Canva also, believe it or not, has a very low learning curve. It's not a steep learning curve. Canva is also pretty good for editing video, and all of the things that you can add in a Canva video, all the bells and whistles and stuff that you can add. So those are my two go-tos, Descript and Canva. And thank you, Chris. I will check out Filmora also. Chris, is that a Mac product, or is that an Apple-based product, or is that also
No,
for?
it's either.
Okay, cool. So PC-based or even Mac-based. So we are going to move into the final portion of tonight's AI clinic. And I'm just moving a couple of screens around so I can make sure I have everything we need here. So we're going to talk about our patient tonight. Let me share my screen. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to use Google Gemini tonight. I usually use ChatGPT, but tonight we're going to use Google. And this is the point where we're going to diagnose a business problem and we're going to cure it. First of all, can everybody see my screen? Can you see Google Gemini?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool beans. Great. So I like to call this the Q4 revenue rescue, or just a revenue rescue in general. So here is the problem. It's December 9th, or better yet, it's December 27th, and you've done work for several clients. You've sent the invoices, and you did this work in October or November. You're net 30, they're past net 30 at this point. Yvonne, I see you smiling. You're kind of stressed out about your end of the year bonuses, your tax prep, your January cash flow, everything else. You really need to follow up, but you don't want to sound desperate. You don't want to sound angry. You don't want to ruffle any feathers, but let's face it, you want your coin. You need your coins. So you freeze. You don't send any emails. What are you going to do? And your cash flow basically flat lines. La la la. So today we are going to perform a minimally invasive procedure. We're going to use artificial intelligence to recover that cash with surgical empathy. So let's take it to the screen. And the prompts that I'm going to use now, I will be putting in the chat. I will also be uploading them into our Facebook group. So you will all, we will all have access to the chats and the prompts. So I'm going to paste a prompt. But before I paste the prompt, so most of the time people say, they go to AI and they're like, oh, please write this follow-up email. Write an email for me that's going to help me recover money from my clients. Write this kind of email. Let's give it a little bit more oomph. we're going to use something called psychological framing. And I'm going to paste this prompt that uses a specific negotiation tactic, and it's called the assumptive close, but we're also going to mix it in with some holiday urgency. How's that? So here's the prompt. I need to collect out on outstanding invoices before the books close for 2025. Act as a senior accounts receivable specialist with high emotional intelligence. That's very important. Please write a 3 email sequence for a client who is late on a $5,000 invoice due on November 30th. Let's back it up and let's say October, because, we're outside the net 30. So here are the constraints that we want to give it. Number one, the first email, we're going to send it today, December 9th. The tone is helpful. It's administrative. We want to assume that they just missed everything in the holiday rush, and we want to frame it as helping them clear their books for the tax season. So it's me. It's not you. Let me help you with this. That's where we're going with the first email. The second email, send it 7 days later. The tone is concerned but direct. On this email, you want to reattach the invoice and ask if there is an issue with the deliverable. Gives them a way to save face, but at the same time, it's saying, I need my bag here. And then the third email, which you send on December 27th. I know I said it was already December 27th, but it's today. The tone is final. It's urgent. Frame it around closing the fiscal year accounts immediately. So we're going to take this prompt and we're going to send it over to Gemini, and we're going to let it think, formulate the email sequence. And I see that Karen has signed on. I've got to pick on you. Karen is our resident financial person, and she is the resident CFO. She is a fractional CFO, and anything
Resident
financial
breaker.
that we do, I usually run past her.
The resident breaker.
Huh? Oh, that's right. She's also a professional breaker. If you have a piece of software or if you have anything and you really, really want to know whether or not it's going to pass QA, give it to Karen. She'll figure out a way to break it. So here is our 3 email sequence that's designed to recover the funds while maintaining the relationship. Invoice amount is Karen says happily. Yes, she will happily break it. Invoice amount is $5,000. The original due date, October 30th, 2025. Current status is over 40 days overdue. Email number 1, the administrative nudge. Send date, subject, tone. Hi, client name. I hope you're having a great start to the holiday season. I'm currently reviewing our accounts to ensure everything is tidy before we close the books for 2025. I noticed that invoice number for $5,000, originally due October 30th, is still showing as outstanding. I assume that this just got buried in the holiday shuffle. I know how full inboxes get at this time of year. I wanted to float this to the top of your list so we can get this expense cleared for your own tax season preparations. See? We're trying to help you. I've attached a copy for easy reference. Could you let me know if this is scheduled for payment this week? And then your name. Okay. Next one. Let's turn up the heat a little bit. I'm following up on my note from last week. As we haven't received payment for this invoice, it is now about 45 days past due. Before I press for payment, I want to make sure we haven't missed anything. Was there an issue with the deliverable or the service provided that is holding up this payment? We value our relationship with you, and if something is wrong, I want to know so we can fix it. If everything was to your satisfaction, please process this payment by the end of the week so we can clear this balance before the holidays fully kick in. So, was there something wrong with the deliverable? We want to retain our relationship with you in the second email. And then the third email, this is before you decide to get crazy. I am writing this as a final notice regarding the outstanding balance of $5,000 on invoice number, which was due on October 30th. We are strictly finalizing our 2025 accounts receivable this week to prevent this account from being flagged as delinquent in our year-end reports. We require payment to be initiated immediately. Please settle this invoice, whatever your bank link is, no later than December 30th. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter so we can both start 2026 with a clean slate. And then, of course, since this is AI, it's going to ask, would you like me to adjust the payment terms in the third email to offer them a payment plan, which is something that you could potentially do. If you think that cash flow might be their issue, and that's usually what the issue is. So here you have a 3, and you can, instead of using 3, you could do 4 emails, you could do 2 emails. I would not do 2 emails. I would start with 3 and take it from there. Now, how many of you have outstanding invoices right now that are over 30 days due?
This seemed like my story because it was October due dates, October work that I didn't get paid for because of the government shutdown. They were not government customers, but they had money that they depended on with the government. So I wrote a letter and I did use Chat GPT. They were nice, friendly letters saying that I understood they weren't trying to hurt me, but I made it really friendly and collaborative. And we started praying for each other. The customers started praying for me. I started praying for them. And I now have all my money.
Ta-da!
Last week I got everybody paid, they've all paid up. But it took
Nice.
patience, but I kept writing letters. I didn't want anybody to forget or to think that I thought it was okay
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't getting my money.
So you were using the assumptive close without even knowing it.
I knew I actually did know I understood
Okay.
what I was doing. But it was important that I stayed friendly with it wasn't there. I understood what happened. It was government didn't give them their money, they couldn't pay me. But now
Right.
it's made me want to get like I signed a deal after that happened and I got my money up front. So I'm going to try to get from now going forward. I never thought about getting the whole amount. I always thought about, give me 50% and but now I would just like 100%
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah, that was one of the
you
things,
just don't know what will happen.
especially with government.
And they weren't
And
even the
and slow,
government.
I was gonna say, and slow pay corporation also. And the other thing is, okay, I'm gonna give you guys all my secrets. I don't bill on a net 30 anymore. I bill net 13, net 15. And I have found that number one, that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And since I started billing net 15 as opposed to net 30, I get paid in full more frequently than when I was billing net 30.
Do you have a penalty clause in that in case you can say you
I absolutely do.
Uh-huh.
I do have penalty clauses in my contracts. So Karen, I see you are unmiked. Open mic'd. What are your thoughts?
So I thought they were pretty good. I do not like the second one. Like that would not be my preference to ask them about deliverables because I'm not doing any additional work and or changes and I still have an outstanding invoice. So that's not an option like for me. So I would just maybe tweak that to not include or were you not happy with the work kind of,
Okay, that can be well,
Right.
notice we're not offering to do any additional work or we're not offering to do any additional work. We're
Well,
just asking if there was an issue.
yeah, but that opens up the possibility, right, by even asking if it
Yeah.
was something. And really what I'm doing is I'm addressing your avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just tweak that second one a little bit. And I don't care who it is. My invoice says due immediately because I don't want my 14-day, 15-day invoice getting caught in your cycle. So if it's due immediately, you can put it in your next payable cycle, if you will. But mine is due immediately to be paid in your next cycle. And just kind of to back up a little bit, those
Mhm.
may be questions that you just ask so that you understand what their payable cycle is and where
Mhm.
your invoice may get caught, depending on what day you invoice. And then the other thing, when I don't know if it's Yvonne or Yvonne was speaking about, being patient with the customer. Another question could be in the beginning is, do you have cash flow to pay your invoices in the event that your biggest client doesn't pay, right? And again,
Oh, that's a good
that
question.
just kind of lets you know where you may fall if things get tight.
That is a great question. Again, this is why Karen is our CFO over here.
I want to
And,
say, Karen, I do have a question
open,
for you.
and,
Ka-
and
Karen,
open for accepting new clients. Yes, Miss Yvonne.
do you have what penalty do you have in your contracts? Because I like what you're saying. I've never been put in this position before where somebody couldn't pay.
Are you a mastermind or the hub?
Yeah, she's
Mastermind.
a mastermind. She's in
Okay,
mind meld.
I'll answer in your DM.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I am taking the prompt, and please feel free to adjust the wording of this prompt so that it fits your business model. But your homework, because we're almost at time, your homework tonight or tomorrow morning is to go to your accounting software. And I'm going to look dead into the camera. You do have accounting software, right? Go to your accounting software and export a list of everyone that owes you money. And then start this process, start sending these emails to them so that you can close out your books for 2025. And Karen, I'm gonna throw this question to you because this is a very good one, and I know you can definitely answer this one. Michael wants to know, if they don't pay, how do you enforce it? Lawyers are expensive.
You can enforce it by continuous communication, but you can't force them to pay other than through legal means. So you just continue to, send the follow-up, um, and try to understand what the problem is so that if there is a reasonable workaround, you could work around. Like the thing, mentioned about possibly taking a payment plan or something like that. So I wouldn't necessarily offer that before I truly understood the reason why they aren't able to pay.
I was gonna say there must be communication so that you can understand, so that we can understand what happened and to continue the communication. The biggest thing is not to have a break because I can't sue a big company. I mean, they have somebody like Michael sitting there waiting to sue me back, and I don't have Michael waiting to sue them. So the biggest thing for me is to keep the communication open.
And I want to submit, and I have personally done this, depending on the client and the longevity of the relationship, you may want to consider factoring or selling your accounts. I have done that several times when I have been, in fact, there was a furniture company in Atlanta that owed me a grip, and for some Microsoft 365 work I did for them. And they were not able to fulfill the entire contract. So I sold that to a factoring company. I took a hit on the percentage, but I was able to get paid much faster than, potentially not being paid at all. So I sold part of the account to a factoring company, and I took the rest out in furniture.
I just have, one comment, respect to that. I think that's good that you could do that. But I think, Israel comes very sensitive when dealing with a customer or a
Mhm.
client
That's
because
why I said depending on who they are and what
yeah,
kind of client they are. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Which
people
is
people should just pay you.
I mean, that's true. The fact of the matter is that, I mean, sometimes when the economy happens to everybody, right? Um,
Mhm.
And relationships, like that's where relationships matter, because they may choose depending on that relationship, because as a CFO and kind of overseeing invoices and having to approve invoices, like sometimes depending on relationship, I approve an invoice where the relationship is a little stronger than somebody that I can just call and be like, hey, we can't pay. I don't know when we're gonna be able to pay, and we'll just kind of, we'll catch up when we can, kind of thing. But when there's a relationship there, that's where that also comes into play as well.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions or comments on anything that we've presented this evening? It's been a lively discussion, and I love it when we have these kinds of lively discussions. And Michael, thank you for being on. We had a few newcomers today. Let's see. I'm going through Chris. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. And I hope that the two of you will join us next Tuesday for another discussion.
Absolutely.
This is amazing. Thank you, everyone.
I want to thank everyone for your time. I believe time is the one thing that you cannot get back, and I am honored that you chose to spend this hour here with the AI Clinic, and I cannot wait to see you next week. We will be posting this in our Facebook group. We also will be posting this on our new YouTube channel within the next 24 hours. So look for yourselves on there, and if we have your email address, I will make sure that you get a notification when it goes up. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.